The Too Rich to Miss Podcast.
Welcome to the Too Rich to Miss Podcast. I am your host, Richard Hawks, and right now we are doing a YouTube video here, and we are going to be talking about what's going on right here in Virginia. I'm looking at today's paper, one of the publications over here in Virginia, the Richmond Times-Dispatch to be exact, and they're talking about the current gun ban that's going on right now and what's going to be happening here and some of the things that they're going to be talking about that's going to be happening. And I'm going to go through and try to highlight some of the important points for this particular video because this is some information that really needs to be floated around that we all need to be aware of. Now, as we all know, and I'll kind of skip around, and because most of the stuff we already know, if you follow the gun community, if you're into the gun community and you follow what's going on, then most of this stuff you already know. So I'm just kind of going and get to the highlighted points that are really, really important here. Now, let's go right to, and I'm quoting from the Richmond Times article, the Richmond Times-Dispatch article from the Friday, January 10th edition. You can check them out at richmond.com for this article, and quoting from this article for the sake of bringing a point and for commentary. So once again, I'm not endorsing. Not endorsing the Richmond Times-Dispatch or saying anything about them, just kind of using the information for the sake of commentary, and because it's they have it, kind of in a nice little organized format. Shout out to the author of this particular article, Mel Leonore. All right, I probably butchered his last name, but shout out to Mel who wrote this article. All right, now let's kind of get into some of the points here. Now, the Northam administration threw its weight Thursday behind the eight proposals it will back on gun control this legislative session, including a ban on assault weapons defined as, now listen to this, any semi-automatic rifle or pistol with a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. Any semi-automatic rifle or pistol with a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. This is a part of what I call rocking chair legislation. Everything that I'm telling you that they're trying to do right now, not one single ounce of this is going to prevent the next person who wants to go out here and commit a mass murder from committing a mass murder. Do you know why? Well, I'll tell you why. And all of us out there, and especially the people who listen to this podcast, because the people who listen to this podcast are intelligent people and have common sense, which is not common. So shout out and thank you to all of my highly intelligent listeners who listen to this podcast, who have some common sense and realize that when people make up in their minds that they're going to be criminal or do criminal activity, they're not going to go and check the laws and say, well, I can't get a semi-automatic rifle or a pistol with a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds, so I guess I better go into the gun store and let me legally purchase a firearm that is within the legal rights so I can go out here and commit this crime that I want to commit. Now, those of us with common sense that actually works, there's a few of us out there, but to those of us out there that got some common sense that works, understands that a criminal is not going to be concerned with what the law is. The criminal is going to be concerned with what he can get his hands on, and that's not going to be considering anything in the law. So all this does is any law-abiding citizen that owns any semi-automatic rifle or pistol with a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds is now owning an illegal weapon that was legally purchased at perhaps one of the wonderful gun shows that they're just about to have now. At the recording of this podcast is being recorded on January the 10th, Friday. There's a wonderful group that comes through that does the gun shows right out here in Hampton, Virginia. They're coming out here to Hampton, to the Hampton Convention Center on the 11th and the 12th. So this podcast is actually being recorded on the 10th. So they'll be out here on the 11th and the 12th. And it's really interesting because the things that you can legally buy after you show your ID and after they do the background check, as they all do, there's none of this other crazy stuff that they talk about. When you go to the gun show to purchase a gun, there's actually someone there. You have to give them your information. You fill out the form. They run your information through the system and the database because they're connected to the internet. And if everything comes back clear because you're a law-abiding citizen, you are able to purchase what you're able to purchase at that time. And if not, you don't. It's just like that. So this is what I call rocking chair legislation. This is not going to do anything to prevent anybody from being killed. Now get this part. Here's something else that's very important that the public should know. Check this out. Then it goes on to say, the Northam back bill would go into effect in July, but would allow people who already own an assault weapon to obtain a permit from the state for restricted use. Without a permit, the guns would have to be disposed of, surrendered, or made inoperable by January 2021. Okay, now, so if you already own an assault weapon, you have to obtain a permit from the state for restricted use. That's what I like to call a Band-Aid. That's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid. I'll say it's a Band-Aid. Now, based on everything that I've been following in the gun community, that is pretty much still it's like a universal background check of some. It's like a list. It's just still a list, still a list keeping track of everybody. I mean, as if they don't already keep track of everybody anyway. You have to, everybody, once again, the common sense people know, and everybody knows that when you go to do any transactions, they take your information and they record your information when you actually go through and make these purchases. So it's not like they don't already know. So going through to do this, as it says right here, who already own an assault weapon to obtain a permit from the state for restricted use. Okay, so you go to the state. I'm sorry, I bumped the microphone again. I'm reading the paper here. So you pretty much pay the state to get another permit, and that's pretty much kind of letting them know that, okay, hey, I'm one that has one. And then it says, without a permit, the guns would have to be disposed of, surrendered, or made inoperable by January 2021. Interesting. Okay. All right. So if you have one, I guess they'll put out information later on how people who actually own one would have to go about getting said permit for restricted use. I guess we'll have more on that, and there could be more on that in this article as we go a little bit deeper down. But let's go on. We want to, I guess, the important points. I want to kind of stop right there. Actually, that's the most kind of one of the important things right now that we can look at. This thing goes into effect in July. But they're going to have time pretty much for, basically it goes into effect until July, but you have until January. So you have about till next year of 2021 to get all of your ducks in a row. Because we all know that they already have all of the votes and the power that they need to get this passed. So It's not about if it will pass. It's about when it will pass. And since we all know that it will pass, all we can do right now is get the information out there so that we know, so that we can act accordingly. Now, let's see. Let's go through here and see what other intriguing things that we have. Let's see. Now, it says the Northern backed assault weapons ban will be sponsored by Delegate Mark Levine. Okay, Delegate Mark Levine, I can't read today, and Senator Adam Eben, both Democrats from Alexandria. It is different from a bill filed by Senate Majority Leader Dick Sessler, the delegate from Fairfax, that does not include a grandfather provision for current owners of weapons deemed assault weapons. Now, keep in mind here, I want to draw an attention to something here. They're talking about assault weapons over here, but the ban doesn't ban assault weapons. The ban comes over here and says it's defined as any semi-automatic rifle or pistol with a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. Any semi-automatic rifle. Just for all people who out there who don't know, get on your computer and Google a Ruger long rifle, right? It's a Ruger 22 long rifle. A Ruger 22 long rifle, I don't own one, so I'm sorry, Ruger, I cannot think of the exact description of one right this second. But a Ruger 22 long rifle has a magazine that holds about 12 rounds, I believe, if my mind serves me correctly. That is now banned. A 22 that you would allow your teenage son to go out into the woods and hunt squirrels with. Surely this is not an assault weapon. Now, in one breath, they are concerned about assault weapons, but in another breath, they're banning any semi-automatic rifle. So every rifle that has magazines more than 10 rounds is banned. So now I guess everybody has to turn in their 22 long rifles as well then, right? Or they have to register those for restricted use. Okay, so you have to register for restricted use. That's where it's but it's not a grandfather clause. You're just registering for restricted use. But this is different than what was previously done. Interesting, right? Interesting. So I guess we're supposed to, like I said, common sense isn't common. Let's see. Let's skip around here, and oh yeah, here's another interesting part of this as well. And this is a really deep article. But let's go to this part right here. This is really interesting also. The Levine-Eben proposal would make it a Class 6 felony to import, sell, buy, transfer, or build an assault weapon within the state. Let's swallow that for a moment. A Class 6 felony to import, sell, buy, transfer, or build an assault weapon within the state. And this is not talking about all of the other very wonderful, interesting things that are going to be going on out here as well. So, yeah, my. And once again, this is just a really short, brief thing about what's going on right today. And as opposed to waiting, I'm going to go ahead on and post this video. I post a video of this on the Too Rich to Miss channel. Be sure to check me out on YouTube, and be sure to check me out on everything actually. YouTube at Too Rich to Miss, and check out the website at www.toorichtomiss.com. Got a lot of updates and everything going on along there. Going to be getting up a lot better on my blogging and get my articles and everything out there, and some good information of some other resources and things that I just come across and I just use, and I need to get better about getting it out there to you guys as we as everything kind of grows and builds and develops. Now, Also, there's going to be a link in the description below. Be sure to check out QuickBooks. We are coming to the tax time of the year, and when you're coming to tax time, if you run a business and you don't have a lot of people working for you, or you're a one-man band, or you're a solopreneur, kind of like myself and some of you others out there that are out there on your own getting it, you know it's very good to be able to have your stuff organized and be able to run your reports like you need them, to be able to get them over to whoever you deal with for your taxes, to get your taxes done, whether you do them yourself or whether you have an accountant that does them for you. QuickBooks has definitely been a big help for me. For the last 4 years I've been using them, and every year I'm able to go through and pull some reports and have all the information that I need from everywhere that's doing everything it needs to do. And I'm able to take care of that wonderful person called Uncle Sam that we all know and love, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, so absolutely. So be sure that you check out, click on the link that's going to be in the description. You get 50% off your monthly subscription for the first 6 months for the package that you pick up. I personally use the self-employed their introductory plan, the self-employed plan. I personally use that one. It does everything that I need to suit my needs at my level. And as I increase and as my needs grow, and as the channel and all of these other things kind of grow, then I may need to step up. But right now, that's been suiting my needs for years now. So be sure to definitely check that out. And also be sure to check out my website for my voiceover services, www.richardhawks2.com, giving you all of your voiceover needs and helping you brand your brand, helping just get your brand out there. So just give me a shout and I'll be more than happy to get that done for you as well. And just in case you're on a budget, you can check me out on Fiverr at fiverr.com, richardhawks2. So whichever way you want to reach out to me. I am all around and I'm always ready to work with everybody and get some things done. This has been a short episode of the Too Rich to Miss podcast. We're going to go ahead on and probably put this one out because of what's going on. And you'll see this on YouTube, and then you'll get the podcast out for this particular episode now, and then you'll get another episode next week as well. We'll catch you on the next one.
The Too Rich to Miss podcast.